Hey guys, it's that time of year, which means I stocked up on some fresh cranberries. So we are going to make some cranberry orange scones. Some of my favorite flavor of scones, and one I used to make at the first pastry job I ever had. So let's get started. So a little insight into what's going on at the bakery right now. I have 2 more weeks left until I am 37 weeks pregnant and going to be done selling in the bakery cases. So basically I'm trying to use up as much of everything as I can. So we're making a big batch of cranberry orange scones, but you can always freeze these and also stock up on your fresh cranberries when they're in stock. You can throw these into the freezer and they work perfectly fine in, if you saw my cranberry orange muffins, I'll link that up there. It works in those. Will also work in these scones. Also, you can cook cranberry sauce from frozen cranberries. So, bottom line, stock up when they're in season if you really like fresh cranberries, because it's way easier to find them during this time of year, that's for sure. So, that being said, I also had 4 oranges I had to use up. So, normally in this recipe, just like my cranberry orange, I'd say zest and juice of 1 orange. It all depends on how much juice you get, how many carbs your stuff's gonna end up being, but I still used a cup, almost a cup of juice in 36 scones plus the cranberries, and it's still only 3 net carbs for a scone. I already weighed out most of my stuff already. We're gonna get this batter whipped up real quick. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna try a different way of doing my scones. The way we used to do them at the bakery I worked at was actually like a drop scone. So like I used like a big portion scoop and did that. So we're gonna try that today to make a little different shaped scones. And of course we're gonna make an icing for the top. So let's get on to it. So I actually have my 3 times dry ingredients measured out here. It's the same as all my other scone recipes and biscuit recipes. My oat fiber is coming in darker. Someone just mentioned that. I used to get it and it was really pale brown. Now it's been darker brown. And I've found it's less absorbent, so you might need less of your liquid. Just keep an eye on it. Don't add all your liquid in one go. I still got to add my sweetener to this because I was waiting for it to come in the mail from Amazon. I got this brand. I really don't prefer it though. It is much cheaper than Locanto, but it creates a dust cloud. It's so powdery, just a mess, especially making frosting out of it. I probably won't be able to see it on camera as well, but literally, like, no matter how much you try not to like mess it around too much to like aggravate it, it's still so bad. Literally coats everything for like 3 feet in every direction. You can do 180 grams with about a cup and a half. It's a big batch. We're gonna make 36. Sweetness level is really up to you in this. I've done multiple different measurements. I've done a little bit, I've done a lot. We're also putting icing on top, but cranberries are super tart, so just keep that in mind when you go to add your sweetener. I have used all allulose in my biscuits before and scones. It makes them soft, but it makes them cook really fast. So I would turn your temperature down and keep an eye on them. Gotta get the wet, and I gotta get our butter grated. Normal recipe's 4 ounces. We need 3 sticks. I like to grate my butter. You can also cube it, freeze it, and then put all your dry ingredients into a food processor and pulse the butter in there, or you can cut it in by hand, but I find that you end up melting the butter more that way. I'm gonna throw these in the freezer while we get our wet ingredients ready. I got egg in warm water here. I'm gonna whip up eggs, cream cheese, and our buttermilk that I actually made using the orange juice and a little bit of the unsweetened coconut milk. So basically use as much orange juice as you have out of your orange, and then make it 4 ounces of buttermilk. So I have 12 ounces altogether. I got 6 eggs in there. I'm gonna whip those up real good. I have softened cream cheese that's been on top of my dehydrator on low. And because I'm running out of cream cheese and there's a couple things I wanna make with what I have, I'm doing 8 ounces of cream cheese and 4 ounces of sour cream. Just like I showed you in the pumpkin bread recipe, you can swap out kind of the same consistency of things in recipes. And there is my orange juice buttermilk. We're gonna add all that into these once they're nice and whipped up. Might need to put the bowl up. Because they were warm, they got whipped up really quickly. We're gonna add in cream cheese and sour cream, which is very, very soft, like mushy. It's the easiest to combine it. Mixer might have been on a little too high for the rest of it. I'm probably not going to need all this liquid ingredients. We can save some for brushing the top of our scones with though. Okay, back to our dry ingredients. Should have sifted our powdered sweetener too. I always forget that that one's like a little bit more clumpy than the other. Sifted the rest of the ingredients. Get our butter out. My favorite tool for this is always a fork. All in there, mixed around without our fingers touching it to warm it up. I tend to have hot hands right now. Usually my hands are pretty cold. Might need a bigger bowl. I don't think I've ever made a 3 times batch. Break up the butter a little bit with your fingers. Looks good to me. You don't need it super precise. You want hunks of butter in there. It makes it moist and soft and delicious. 12 ounces. 4 per batch. Sure they're all good. I had a couple mushy ones in the last batch. Well, if you're not going to use them right away, just freeze them. Probably should have froze mine. Cranberries are in. I also zested all those oranges before I juiced them. I got a bunch of orange zest. I'm going to save like half for the icing we're going to do. Add in. I'm going to be conservative with the liquid. You always can add more. You can't take away. So. Remember that coconut flour takes a while to get thick and absorb, so you're going to need more than you think still. That much left to brush the 36 scones. Should be enough. I'm going to pop this into the fridge to chill for a little bit so that butter doesn't get too warm. And then we'll knead it and scoop it. Okay, I got my protein powder here sprinkled out. I have 2 pans ready. I'm using my big scooper. I got the rest of my liquid and a pastry brush. You can just use your fingers, which I've done multiple times. Can't wait to eat one of these. It's a lot of dough. I might do half at a time, probably be easier. So if I do half, I should get hopefully 18 out of it. Obviously I'm not weighing, so it's not gonna be super accurate. I'm gonna put the rest of this back in the fridge actually. You don't want it warming up too much. Yeah, it's like really sticky right now. The reason I knead it, some people are saying that they didn't knead it at all, they just scooped it and made it. When I did this initially and I didn't fold it and kind of knead it enough, I would get like try to make round biscuits and I'd get like blowouts like on the sides and stuff. And I found that if you knead it, you get really nice like lift and not like out. So that's why I knead it. But you don't have to. You don't really care what shape your biscuits or scones are in. Oh, I didn't grab out my bench scraper. This actually isn't too sticky because we held back some of the liquid. I don't think it's going to take too much to kind of just get it into a nice smooth dough consistency. Okay, I think that's good. I don't know if I mentioned it in another video, but every pastry shop I've worked at is closed. So any dessert that I really loved there, I have to recreate. So I'm going to do a nice big scoop like that out of it. Put it right down on parchment. Never done this before, so I don't know how it's going to turn out. I know someone else said in the comments that they did this, I think, but they didn't do the kneading part. I don't know how much I'm going to spread outwards, giving them kind of a lot of space. I think we're going to need 3 pans at least. If we don't end up getting 36 out of here, it is going to change our carb count. So you always got to remember that too if you don't get the same number as me. So that was only 12. So we may only get 24. we shall see. I'm going to do the rest of these guys up, and then I'll brush them and get them in the fridge. I'm going to preheat my oven right now too to only 350. You're going to want 400. I ended up with 30. If you have the same scoop as me, I would level it out a little bit more. I'm going to recheck the carb count for 30. I'm going to put these in. You're going to want to go 18 to 21 minutes. I'm only doing 16. I'm going to turn them at 8 and see if I need more time. Well, I guess I should have watched my own video. I had it at 350. This was 8 minutes. So I'm hoping they're cooked inside, and I turned my oven down. I might throw them in for a couple more minutes because they don't seem quite done yet. But I'm going to turn them, and I'm down to 300 now. So I'm going to put them in for like 4 more minutes, maybe. Let my oven cool down a little bit. Can't wait to be back in my own kitchen. Okay, 4 more minutes, and they feel a little bit less like they're just dough inside. So I'm going to throw my next pan in at 300, and hopefully it'll be a little bit less dark. It's another thing, if you do a big batch of anything, that's why a lot of times when I test, I do small batches because of things like that happening. But if you have 3 pans, do your first pan. Don't do all 3 at once. I'm going to do 7 and then turn 7. I did 8, did 12. So hopefully it'll take a little bit longer. I just want to break one open. Oh, they look so soft. Oh, I want to eat them. I'll wait though. Oh, they're nice and warm still though. Gotta put the icing on them. Okay, that was 7 at 300. That looks better. Do another 7, and it should be nice and delicious. Taking these out a minute early. That's how I want them to look. Like the cranberries all bursting in there. But definitely, if you have a convection oven, lower temp is the way to go. So you want the cranberries cooked. Put my last batch in, and then we'll get on to icing them. Now I had to just make icing for my delicious cheese Danish for the case. So I already have some in a bowl. I'm obviously going to need to make a lot more than if you make just a single batch of this, which that's what I'm going to be putting down in the description box. It's going to be a 1-times batch of this, not a 3. I'm going to need a lot to start with 3 scoops for now. I already have my orange zest in there. I'm going to do a tiny splash of orange extract, and then my So Delicious. You should have seen the stuff we used at the bakery for our frosting for scones. It was just a bucket of goop icing. I don't remember what it was called. It was just like, I don't think it was royal icing, but literally we just slathered it on the top of all our scones. Some food grade bucket icing. It's gonna be so good. We're definitely gonna need more than that. I'm gonna make more because I don't have any more orange zest. So I do not want to run out because that looks really good. I feel like this powder monk fruit erythritol doesn't go as far as the Locanto. I don't know what's like. When I do a scoop of the Locanto powdered sweetener, it's 30 grams. This is 50. So I don't know if it's just like extra powdered or something. Always add little by little. So good. Get on to frosting these guys. Now we literally used to just take a pastry brush and like dunk it in here and like lather it on. Oh, and I figured out the macros for 32. If you get 32, which I only got 30, but if I were to have re-scooped some of them, I would have gotten 32, and it's still only 3 net carbs. So I'm just gonna put right on the top. Just swirl it around so it goes down the edges a little bit. You do a little bit thinner still, not much at all though. Like, you not want it much thinner than that. Tiny bit. Flows a little bit better. Let's see. pretty darn good. Now if I notice I'm getting too low on this and I didn't get very far, I'm going to add more to it so I don't lose all that orange zest. Those look good. I'll let those dry. Let's try them. I'm going to top the rest of them. Okay, it's finally time to try these guys. I got here, but I'm only gonna have one. This is the one I already broke open, so I'm not sure how it's gonna break, but oh, so good. It's like super fluffy, like super moist inside. To eat it. Some cranberries bursting in there. Bursting with orange flavor. I didn't get a cranberry up. There it is. Tart and sweet. Super soft and fluffy. Cranberry orange scones. Reminds me of the scones we had in my old pastry job. They were more white inside, but that's white flour for you. These are super good. Delicious. I hope you guys are excited about the cranberry season as much as I am when you try some of these cranberry orange scones for yourself. They are so good. If you give these a try, let me know in the comments below how you liked them. What are your favorite flavor of scones? I'd like to know. I've made a bunch of different ones, but I'm sure there's plenty of favorites out there I haven't tackled yet. Don't forget to check out my Amazon links and the blog link to the full recipe in the description box below. Give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already. And as always, I'll be back with many more keto dessert recipes. Bye guys.